Imagine this Christmas morning, your kid tears open the envelope and the gift card is empty. You're staring at a $100 piece of plastic that's already been drained before you even bought it. The worst part? You did everything right. You bought it at a legit store, kept the receipt, and you still got hit. December is the one month where attackers don't need genius, they need volume. More shopping, more shipping, more travel, more distraction, more family group chats, which are fun and otherwise. It's the perfect environment for a low effort scam to become a high profit machine. And that's what we're going to talk today on this episode of Legitimate Cybersecurity. Thank you for joining me. My name is Frank Downs, and as always, I'm here with Dr. Dustin Brewer. And today we thought we'd do a fun holiday themed episode for everyone where we'll discuss the key attacks that you're going to see a lot more of during the holiday seasons. What's really interesting is that these attacks aren't specific to the holidays, but you see a lot of them just basically ramp up because people are spending money, people are traveling, people are doing a lot of things at the end of the year that they didn't really do in the rest of the year. They're going to see their family, they're communicating, and they want to make sure that maybe everyone gets a present. Well, that presents a lot of opportunities for these attackers to basically make a profit. They want to steal your stuff. They want to steal your identity. They want to steal everything about you. And you're giving them more of a chance to do so, especially if you're operating without any kind of security in mind. The first thing I want to talk about today is how this becomes a bigger thing over the holidays. Dustin, I know that you and I do a lot of different things throughout the whole year, but what do you think it is specifically about the holidays that really makes us spend more money and do more traveling? I mean, it can be family, but there's got to be more to it as well.
Yeah, I think that's it. Actually, I think it's really just family. The holidays are happening. We're ramping up for the end of the year. There are budgets to on the corporate side. There's budgets to spend to get all your year end spending out, depending on when your fiscal year ends. On the personal side, everybody's trying to get the hot new toy for their kid. By the way, if you're buying a gift card for your child,
Well, okay, don't knock it yet because I know more than one kid in my family that would love a gift card for Christmas, specifically a Roblox gift card.
Roblox, sure, yeah, yeah,
Roblox
yeah.
are so popular right now, and they don't even want real money. They want Roblox cash or Robux, I think they're called.
Robux,
And
yeah.
as far as like purchasing and so forth, I had a whole kind of out of body experience the other day when we were talking about the types of purchases because right now Labubus are very popular, and I bought my daughter some Labubus for Christmas. And I got to tell you, I did not know that one of the primary ways of purchasing these really scary looking dolls, by the way, I don't know why they're popular. I don't know what it is. And I'm just accepting the fact that I'm out of touch now when
There
it
you go.
comes to
Yeah.
like cool things, is to buy them through vending machines. And I don't know about you, but I've never shoved $60 into a vending machine before. And all I could think of the entire time was, man, it's scanning my phone, it's doing, the Apple Pay and so forth. And I'm like, it could be pretty straightforward if I really wanted to intercept this and steal a lot of information. So now you've got these multiple different vectors of basically electric transmission of funds that are a lot more prevalent than they used to be, presenting a lot more opportunities for these attackers because no one was manning the Labubu station, which is not a phrase I thought I'd say as a sentence. But that was the only way to get Labubus at this point. So it's really interesting. And I think, kind of also gets to there's kind of three accelerants here. You've got urgency, emotion, and convenience, right? The urgency, I'll give you a great example. My family just came back from a vacation we took at the end of the year, and I realized I hadn't bought anything for anyone. I still haven't necessarily bought all I need to buy for everyone. I owe my wife a few presents still, and I've got shipping's over. I'm gonna have to go and like do it in the wild. But there's a lot of
Getting down to the
urgency.
wire.
Yeah, I gotta hurry there. And the emotion is there because you really want to make sure you give them something that's a nice present. But also, there's the convenience of doing these types of transactions where I don't know anyone who carries that much cash around anymore. It's not kind of the thing. I carry a little bit of cash, but not a substantial amount like they used to in the past. So it's really interesting in that regard how these things are kind of this convenience has kind of made us bigger targets, right?
Yeah, somehow it still, appears to be safer to carry around, predecessors would have called plastic, but now is all in our NFC capable devices of carrying around a credit card or a credit card equivalent. Um, and in a way, it still is, right? Because if someone comes and punches you in the face and grabs your wallet and runs, you can very quickly call your bank and tell them to turn off all your credit cards before anything can happen. Or But if it's cash, you can't, right? And
Right.
that's so there. And I've heard this from. I went to a leadership summit at MIT, and I talked to a lot of financial institutions, and this was right after 2000, not right after 2008. It was a few years after 2008, um, and the market crashed there. And the financial folks were telling me that millennials, at least the millennials that they were dealing with on a regular basis, were mostly using cash, which was really interesting to me as an elder millennial, if you will. And I was like, what's the impetus for that? And they were like, well, after the 2008 crash, they don't really trust banks, they don't trust credit, they don't trust, those
Well, the
institutions.
banks were the only thing that got taken care of, though.
I
Let's be
know,
honest, not
yeah.
us. Ha!
And this could totally be like not confirmation bias, but like a little bit of a bias, anecdotal, because they're saying anybody who's coming into the branch that was a millennial was bringing cash in, but those of us who don't use cash don't have to go into the branch. So that's probably like a little bit of a skewed data set there. Either way, though, like there is this interesting idea about security and payment methods. And we believe, and we do see it, on a regular basis, where we'll go to buy something and it's like, oh, credit card decline, and all of a sudden you look at your phone, text from your bank, "Hey, is this you?" Great. That's kind of an amazing thing that happened. You can hit. It's slightly inconvenient, but also slightly not. To your point, though, Frank, like going and buying something from a vending machine that is not manned, as you mentioned, right? Because most vending machines aren't. And we see these videos on YouTube of these scammers going and putting skimmers
It's
on.
very easy. It's very
It's
easy. I
very
mean,
easy.
everyone thinks about it, say, at the gas station, but at
Yeah.
what point are you going to think about it at a pretty
Anyway,
impressive looking vending machine in the mall, right? It's
anywhere. And with
it's
3D printing, you can make like custom molds for these things and put them so they match exactly with, or at least exactly enough with the vending machine you're looking at. So there's that. And to your point, 100%. To me the biggest multiplying factor of why we tend to fall for these things closer to the holidays is stress. It's stress and a sense of urgency to do something. A little bit of FOMO, right? Getting that toy. Oh, there's one toy left. Let's go buy it. Let's get it. However, we got to pay for it is how we're going to pay for it. You got to speed buy something for your wife, whoever you haven't bought for yet, your significant other. And that's where these mistakes come in, because you're not thinking as clearly or as procedurally as you would normally think.
I agree with you. And that's why one of the things we wanted to discuss today is how these types of scams you need to think about, how you can recognize them, and what you should do in order to try and avoid them. And the first one I want to talk about is the gift card heists that are happening right now, if you will. Gift cards have basically become anonymous cash, but there's one fatal flaw. The PIN and barcode are sitting in public a lot of times, just waiting for somebody who has all day and zero morals. And you see that it kind of becomes a two-part trick. Attackers capture the card info while it's on the rack, right? While before it's ever been purchased. And then the moment it's activated, they drain it instantly. So you want to avoid this. And there's a couple different ways that you can avoid this. There are a few things that organizations and companies have started to implement in order to protect you and them better, because let's be honest, opening up an empty gift card doesn't look good for anybody. But not all of the companies have taken into these security measures. So things you want to look for when you're specifically looking at these cards is, do they have information on display? I'll give you a great example. My most secure credit card that I use is my Apple credit card. And a lot of people might make fun of that, right? When you talk about the Apple credit card, people say things like, oh, you're just an Apple fanboy and stuff like that, which I may be an Apple
A little
fanboy at
bit.
this point. I really wish I wasn't. I really wish I wasn't, because I held out long, buddy, on not getting this MacBook that I'm using now. You know, I held out long.
You did.
Dustin introduced me
Too
back
long.
in 2012 into the world of building your own computer, and I've been building my own, building my own, building my own. But if anyone's out there right now trying to build your own computer, the streets are mean.
They
The
are.
RAM is rough.
The
And when for
RAM.
$800, and then I got a discount on this one, I think it was closer to 600, I got a Mac M4 that can do everything I need to and will have 7 years of security patches. I think I'll go with that.
Not to get too
Um,
derailed, but the RAM thing is a serious issue too nowadays. I
the
don't know if
RAM
you've
thing
seen, but
is
there's a lot of manufacturers who are going to start putting out the low level laptops
intentionally.
as 8 gigabytes, which I'm like, man, I've been like gunning for a 32 gig for so long, and now we should really be at 64, 128, right? Like we have the technologies there, the ability to make it smaller is there.
Joke's on us. Old
Jokes
man
on us is
Elon
right.
needs it.
This is digital transformation at its finest. This is what moving into the cloud has cost us.
Yeah,
Anyway, sorry.
yeah.
Back to the Apple credit card.
But the reason I like the Apple Card, and it's been one of the reasons it's been the most secure credit card I've had so far, is that it doesn't list any numbers whatsoever on the card. It's titanium and it just has
Mhm.
my name and nothing else. Additionally, so if I need the actual credit card number, it's in my phone, hidden behind multiple layers of security, including Face ID, and I can change it whenever I want very easily. Right. So if I have an issue, I can just burn it and go on to the next one. And this keeps a level of security for that card. Take this same mentality to when you are purchasing gift cards. And that's why I recommend you can buy gift cards online from the actual company themselves directly.
Mhm.
This is by far it's and don't get me wrong, there's still ways to intercept that. There's still ways for a
Yes.
determined hacker who wants to go after you specifically to intercept that. But if you have those kinds of enemies, I'm sorry for you already because that's a bigger you've got a bigger problem than just someone stealing that. But go directly to the website and purchase them there. If you cannot do this and have to buy them from, say, a grocery store or somewhere else, make sure that the gift cards are either one, held in a secure location and you have to ask for them. Two, do not have any public facing information that it all has to be scraped off before you use it. Or three, you actually have the value of the card and the activation of the card occur all at once at the actual register where there's nothing to steal beforehand. So they can't steal that information dynamically or statically. I guess it'd be static information printed on a static card. You catch my drift. Beforehand, so that then when you get to the register, you actually get the activation, you get the code, you get all the information there that is not physically on the card. These are things to keep a lookout for when you're actually buying these, so you don't have to avoid that awkward situation. Although maybe you do in an awkward situation. Maybe you want to give somebody an already used gift card. Perhaps that's a statement you have for an uncle or a cousin. I don't know. I don't know your relationship dynamics come the holidays. But if you actually want to appropriately give someone something, these are considerations that you should think about when you're going. Dustin, do you have anything to add to that, or any concerns you think that I might have missed?
No, it's funny. I feel like a lot of people are on alert on a regular daily on a daily basis when it comes to their physical security, or even when it comes to financial transactions. Right? No one wants someone to get something over on them. No one wants to, oh, well, this person overcharged me, or I didn't get the discount I'm supposed to get, or whatever it is. Like we all kind of have those concerns as we're going into places that we're buying things, right? Because we don't. There's this fear of being swindled, if you will. And so these are some of the same properties that these ideas of how you think about normal transactions need to go into your digital transactions as well. They need to go into that level of visibility, that level of awareness of what you're doing, what you're buying, how much you're buying it for. All of those things need to go into play when you're doing any kind of transaction at all, right? Including using cell phone to buy something. Think about it. Are you is does the Labubu vending machine look legitimate?
Yeah,
Or does it,
I gotta
is
tell
look
you, I mean, it was pretty nice. What was interesting is I had the little thing that goes up, and it waited before I paid, before it used a magnet to zoop, suck it out. But it did have other vending machine issues that I guess they still can't fix. It didn't push the next Labubu up far enough for the magnet to work. So whoever came to buy the next Labubu wasn't going to be getting it, but it was there. And I was like, I don't think this is one you're allowed to shake to try and get it to
no.
move forward. If I shake this, the cops are coming.
The cops are coming because it's
Yeah.
like $10,000 worth of merchandise in
Yeah.
there. But and then almost kind of apply the same ideals behind looking for a phishing email or looking for some other kind of cybersecurity scam. Is something misspelled?
Mhm.
Is the person maybe not 100% confirmed as a legitimate person that you're talking to or that you're dealing with? Going to Target and buying these things, fine, that's one thing. Going on to an online vendor, a known online vendor that you know that the URL is not misspelled, fine. But these are all still the same kind of You know, the kind of culture of cybersecurity awareness that we're supposed to have on our in our daily work lives, have it in your personal life too. And not to the point where you're ruining anything. Like, don't be weird about it. Frank and I once had a buddy that was like, he was very much into working out and everything, and he's like, and into like, he's like, whatever you want to eat, whatever. Like, if you want to be pescatarian, if you want to be, vegetarian, fine. Do whatever you need to do for your morals or for whatever. Just don't be weird about it. Don't be like, go out and try to preach it to other people. Just don't, Same thing with cybersecurity policies, right? In your personal life, just don't make it so that it's affecting your life in a negative way.
Yeah,
But
funny thing
or
about
or
other
affecting.
people's diets. Funny thing there. I
Yeah,
don't care.
it's so true. What works for some people doesn't work for everybody, right? I mean, sorry, not now we're welcome to the legitimate nutritionist podcast.
Yeah, exactly. You know what else they ate? All the care I had for their diet information. Anyway, that one more thing on these gift cards as well. If anyone, and I mean anyone, asks for payment this time of year in gift cards, you're not paying for anything you think you are paying. You're
Oh,
funding a crime. The holiday season, especially, is when fake support and fake account locked information and messages kind of explode because everybody's already dealing with returns and deliveries and
yeah.
login issues because they're logging into like, yeah, I don't know, Lululemon for like I do not shop at Lululemon for me. So I go there once like every other year. Do I have that password information? Maybe if I'm lucky, I saved it in my password manager, but odds are, they're going to send me a text. They're like, you haven't been here in a while. What are you doing here? What do you seek from Lululemon? And I imagine they're French. I'm guessing, by the way. Anyway, you've got to keep an eye out for those. And when you're trying to work, when you see those prompts, if anyone's asking for you to pay for their services with a gift card, don't do it. Don't do it at all. Don't pay for them. And that also kind of pivots when we're talking about these notifications into the tracking smishing that you'll see a lot of today, a lot of recently or now, ideally. Not ideally, it's never ideal, but you'll see them on the rise. I mean, you're waiting on gifts, your phone's buzzing, and it says package can't be delivered, fix the address. I kind of, even though I know that this is a regular smishing scam, I get, oh no, I feel it. And you go, that checks out. That's a problem. I need to handle that. This is like number one in the holiday MVP scam like weapon book, right? Because it takes that real emotion of I ordered this, I spent money on it, I
Hmm.
need it to get there in time. I can't
Yeah.
tell you how. And even if you pay extra, there's no guarantee it's going to get there on time. So just kind of come to grips with that. I can't tell you how many times I've bought something and I thought it would get there in time. I'd even do it 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Right. So when you get these texts, you need to take them with a critical eye. Use the smishing and phishing kind of tools that Dustin and I have told you about. Does it seem legitimate? Like, is it spelled correctly? Why does it want you to go to this specific URL? Is it a redirect URL? If it's a bit.ly URL, really don't click it.
Hmm.
If they ask you to call, really don't. Oh man, the one that my mother-in-law is getting a lot right now is Apple Care. Is like, you need to call us at this number.
Yeah.
And of course they're going to do that because if they have any idea of the age, they have a specific playbook for older individuals where they're like, oh yeah, if they call, then we got them. Then we really get them. Don't do it. No, you should be aware and understand that if it looks suspicious, it probably is suspicious. If there's a delay with your shipping, if you receive one of these, there's other ways to check. You can check through the portal you purchased it with. There's that app Shop. Have you seen that? Have you used that?
Yes.
I love Shop. I
Yeah.
love Shop and what it is for anyone who might not have used it before. If you are an independent online retailer, and no matter what the size, Shop provides a consistent payment, delivery, and tracking system that you can see all your goods that you've purchased, all the things you've bought, and their way to the destination. So we really recommend these secure third parties, for example, to track your shipping. Or if you get this notice, just check through another avenue because people will take your stuff. What they want more than whatever you bought? All your information again, because then they can get into your. And if you click that link to then log into their fake FedEx page, it starts to get worse and worse. You just keep giving them more and more information.
Yeah.
Um, anyway,
A
Dustin,
quick.
what did I miss there? What do you think?
Well, yeah. No. Quick statistic I was looking up while you were talking. I wasn't
Pontificating,
paying
not
attention.
shutting up.
So the busiest month on the internet is typically November. Traffic peaking around Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales events.
Yeah.
December becoming, just kind of it's like kind of a little bit of a peak and then just a little bit of a plateau in December. And so to our point, and I think to the point of everybody, like we're all a lot more active online, and that's why a lot more crime is going to happen, right? It's like why would a lot of crime happen in a city? Why would crime happen more often in a city than in a rural area? Because there's more people around. Like it's
And because
just
Batman's not there.
because
Exactly.
that
That's
right.
exactly what I
Nobody
was
set up a
thinking. Yeah.
bat signal,
Yeah.
and Frank didn't show up with his Batman uniform on. He may or may not
Uh,
have that.
there is
So
a
no,
group. Side note, if anyone's interested, you can find out my turn, just to side rail a little bit. If you're looking for a Batman support group, I did not know they exist. I actually don't dress up like Batman. I just spend way too much online. There is a support group for people who dress up like Batman.
which
Anyway,
is
please continue,
fantastic.
Dustin.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great to hear. That's like the good news I needed for the day to
Yeah.
warm my heart a little bit. That
Always remember the words of Batman, because if you think you're Batman, you're not. And how do you know? Because Batman doesn't wear hockey pads. So there we go. A nice Christopher Nolan reference for you.
oh,
Deep
okay.
cut.
Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, the one, the big scam that I've been getting a lot lately is it's a Bitly and a call, but it's specifically for a cryptocurrency exchange. And it's like, oh, this money is being withdrawn from your account. The funny thing, though, is that I don't have an account on the crypto exchange that they're talking about. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, unless someone stole my identity, which is a possibility, but I do have protections in place for that. I'm not getting any alerts, or I do check it on a regular basis, and haven't seen anything. But that what's funny is though when those things happen to me, it prompts me to go, oh, you know what? I haven't checked on other things in a really long time, so I'll go log into some places where I might have some I may or may not have crypto holdings, and I'll check on that, right? And so it's all, and then I'll go into the audit. You go into the security section of a lot of these websites that you have an account with. You check, login attempts, and you can kind of see what's going on. Recently, my Microsoft account was like totally bombarded with attempts for logins from, was it the Middle East? It was somewhere that was not the United States of America, and somewhere that I have not been in a very long time or ever. And so and so, but it's funny. It triggers that in my mind, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I do need to go. Like, if I see a scam, I'm like, no, it's pretty good, but I really need to go check these other things to make sure that all is secure and all is well.
I get mine from my Epic account a lot, which I haven't used Epic in forever. And thankfully, this is a really good example of why MFA works. Thanks to MFA, they can't get in. So they've got my username. They somehow got my password. All our passwords are being stolen all the time, right? And sold. But you've got that MFA turned on. That's why Microsoft statistic that 99.9% of exploitations are deterred by multi-factor authentication. Yes, it's inconvenient. You still should turn it on, right?
100%. Always turn on MFA, however you have to do it. And yes, as Frank said, it is a pain in the neck sometimes, but sometimes you got to, right?
But
You
yeah,
just have to. And
sometimes you
then
have to.
and then the token timeouts that some of you notice were like, oh, I logged in, and then every 15 minutes you have to relog in. If you're not, those are for your protection as well.
Although if
And
it's 15 minutes, talk to someone at work, because they're being a jackass.
I actually just got off of a pen test readout where we recommended
You recommended every 15 minutes?
15 to 60 minutes, I think
Oh,
is the
why?
super secure
It better be the crown jewels of everything there. Sorry. I'll leave it at that.
I think the standard though is 4 to 6 hours. I
Yeah.
think if I remember
Yeah. If
correctly.
that's what NIST is now going, and I didn't see this, but I believe the new guidance with NIST is you don't necessarily have to have a defined one, which I think it's their attempt to be like, all companies are different, and then based on business operations, you should make a considered which is, yeah, okay, yeah, thanks guys. Not everyone wants to hear that when they're just trying to give advice. So there's that. But yes, turn on the MFA, look at the fine print of a lot of these outreaches. And speaking of the fine print, nothing says modern crime, right? Like stealing money from people who are pretending to be charities. And it's all because you didn't read the fine print. And the example I'll give there is we're seeing, especially around the holidays, you'll see a big uptick in QR code scams. QR code scams and fake charities, which are really hard to prosecute, especially when you consider that if you look at the fine print underneath that QR code, many times it even will indicate that it's not a charity, that it's just some dude you're giving money to. And, they kind of get away scot-free. But if I can't think of a better way to make a terrible sequel for Bad Santa, which is actually really funny in my opinion, and a lot of people are going to judge me for liking the movie Bad Santa there. But a bad Santa who is out in front of a grocery store pretending to raise funds for the homeless, and you scan that QR code, and the next thing you know, you're just paying a guy named Billy, right? It's really hard to claim that on your taxes. And it is, in fact, a scam that is more prevalent these days. And throughout the rest of the year, you'll still see it. Where it's becoming more prevalent as well are in these new parking garages. A lot of parking garages today make you use QR codes to scan and pay as well. But what people have started to notice is if you just put another sticker or another sign up that looks similar, other people will do it too.
That's
They'll
right.
pay and they'll say, "Hey, we like that you parked. Here's the fee." And they'll do it. And I kind of, Dustin, view this too. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but I had a couple times in Baltimore, and I know you lived in Baltimore as well, where did you ever park and someone would come up and say, "Hey, if you pay me $20, I'll make sure nothing happens to your car."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What they were really saying is, "Pay me $20 or I'm going to
Or yeah,
jack up your car." Right. So yeah, I just basically viewed it as this one's on me. I shouldn't have parked here. I should have looked a little bit closer. Here's $20, that car will be there. Right. So
I think I ignored
that's,
them and walked away most of the time, and nothing ever happened to my car, to be
well,
fair.
well done. I did not have that experience once. And so, I'd give them a couple bucks. Anyway.
First of all,
Um,
like I said, like, I'm a true millennial. Like, first, you're asking me for cash? I don't have any cash. Like, and
well, yeah,
then
I'm talking
sometimes,
about a while back though, too.
yeah, I didn't have
I
any
bet they
cash
come
back
up
then
now
either.
with a QR code and they're like, "Hey, you want to make sure nothing happens to your
Yeah, yeah,
car?"
yeah. Here's my Venmo.
Boom.
So, and on that, so I think, did I write an article for CNBC where we talked about the quishing? They call it quishing. I hate it. I hate that term.
Yeah.
QR
We
code
write a lot
phishing.
of I'm gonna be honest, we write a lot of articles.
We do. Okay. I don't know if it was you or me who wrote it. Either way, somebody wrote it somewhere, and it was on CNBC, I think. And the whole point of the article was like it's similar. It's a similar social engineering mechanism that happens in someone's brain when you're like, oh, QR code, gotta scan it, right? As it is clicking a link in an email. Clicking a link on an email takes milliseconds. Like you just
It
boop
does.
boop. To scan a QR code, you've got to take your phone out of your pocket, probably. Maybe you've got it and you're walking around town and you have it in front of your face, which I don't recommend. Pay attention to your surroundings. But maybe you've got it out. You still have to open up your camera app or your QR code scanning app. You still have to sit there. It still takes a little bit of time sometimes to get it. In that time period, take a step back, take a breath. What are you scanning? Where is this? What is your location? Where are you? Situational awareness. Um, hey, wait, does that look like a sticker that's on top of another sticker? Like
Is the
physical
gleam in that Santa's eye goodwill, or is it actually crime? Right?
and and not only that, but there are great websites out there like Charity Navigator that you can go to, do a quick search on charity to see if it's
Yes.
worth donating to. I'm all about donations, all about giving back to the community.
Yes, we're very much still saying you should still donate. This is not an advocacy for don't donate. Just
Yeah,
consider how you want to do it, right? Go to the website. Don't necessarily give to this dude that you found outside.
that's right. Check out Charity Navigator too. It's a great site for ensuring that the money that you're giving them is actually going to the people who they're saying they're people or pets or whatever it is that they're saying that they support.
And talking about going to people, that kind of brings up our next point, Dustin, that travel season is where security does go to die because
Mm.
every decision is made in rush, in public, and my favorite, on unfamiliar networks. This
Mm.
is where attackers win with convenience traps. We're talking about Wi-Fi, charging stations, and the whole sign in to Netflix on the hotel TV aspect. These are things you need to think of as you're traveling because there's a lot of different instances and a lot of different points throughout your travel where you can get exploited. And so the first one I want to talk about are the hotel and my favorite, the airport Wi-Fi. And I
Mhm.
think the airport Wi-Fi is my favorite because we used to watch, what was it, Hack 4? It might Hack 5.
Heck five.
The people who developed the Pineapple. If you're not familiar with the Pineapple, it is a very versatile device that people, sometimes hackers, it also has very legitimate security applications as well. But a lot of times hackers use it to impersonate trusted Wi-Fi networks. So they look like things like airport Wi-Fis. They look like hotel Wi-Fis. And when you connect to them, they even have pretty nice login pages that seem really legitimate. But what you're actually doing is you're then connecting to basically a bad actor. And they're taking all the traffic and they're either SSL stripping it, doing a man in the middle sniffing, where they can see everything you do, everything from your login credentials to the messages you're sending, all of it. And then that goes straight to them. And a lot of times, depending on where you are, they'll even try to charge you for the access. Or
Mhm.
on top of it, they'll get your credit card information and you'll pay them about $10 so you can use that Wi Fi at the airport. So my Dustin, I'd like to know your thoughts on this because I have kind of a graded level of access here when I talk about like a mind with my mindset. In that, when it comes to airports, I will just never, ever, not ever use any Wi-Fi found in an airport. But then I get a little bit more, you know, I'll use a little more discretion when I go to a hotel, right? Where if I go to a hotel, what hotel is it? Is it part of a big chain? Is it part of an? Am I familiar with for example, Marriott and their Bonvoy? They even have specific capabilities for secure connections through their app for those things. So there's a bit more security there. But bar none, I'd say no matter what, when you are traveling, if you don't have a VPN will always help keep you more secure than if you didn't have one. One through like Nord or pick your own option as well. I'm a big fan of Nord. And I mean, for 99 bucks and it covers like 3 or 4 years, you can make sure that everything's encrypted and everything's encrypted. And if you get a good VPN provider, they don't store any of your PII on top of it all. So they can't see what you're doing and they don't even know who you are. So when you're traveling, think of these things. What do you think, Dustin? What did I miss there? There's a lot of places to flim flam scam people while they're traveling.
Yeah, SSL strip. I'm not going to say it's outdated because we deal with folks who are still using like TLS
Yeah,
4.0 and like, there's or even SSL. Was it 1. I can't remember the versioning numbers off the top of my head, but look, there are certain.
1.3 was it 1.3 that had the
I think that's the
exploit?
new one. That might be the new one.
That's the
TLS
new one.
4.3.
If you're not using it, it's bad.
Sorry, we should know
I
this.
promise. We're very
We are
legitimate cyber
experts.
professionals, or else they wouldn't
we'll have
call
to
this legitimate cybersecurity.
we'll
So
have to look that up. But either way, there are certain websites that still just don't use it. There are certain vendors who still just they don't want to update it because they can't, because they might be using some kind of proprietary piece of software they don't want to have to rewrite, because they might want to be able to interact with other organizations that don't have the upgraded TLS SSL capabilities. So there's a lot of different reasons why companies do this. Um, Usually your browser will also stop you. It will say, hey, this is not HTTPS. Go to the HTTPS site. Most companies have a secure HTTP site you can go to now. That being said, there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way to kind of fish these credentials off you. There are website spoofing capabilities that they can do. Once you kind of do that man in the middle attack that Frank was referring to with the Wi-Fi portion of this, you know, you can do a lot. You can do a lot with that first level of access, that kind of foothold level of access you have to the in between, but internet communication. The second part to this is that 100% agree with VPN. With VPN, I'm not saying you can be fearless. Close to it though, as long as you're
yeah,
connecting
yeah.
to that VPN.
Still use common sense.
Yeah, you use common sense, of course. I'm not saying that this will hide your identity. I'm not saying that it will, at the endpoints you're going to, is going to be something that's secure. I'm not going to say that your VPN provider cannot be hacked and they can view what you've been looking at through your VPN. What I am saying is that that man in the middle attack is rendered much less useful to an attacker if you're utilizing a VPN. Use it in airports, use it in hotels. Do not trust hotel Wi Fi. The attack that Frank was talking about is one thing. The second thing is that most hotel Wi-Fi is usually not encrypted on that first physical layer, on layer one, right? So what?
And you don't necessarily know if it's all managed by the brand. Some a fun fact: I think it's over 80 to 90% of Marriott's now are not actually Marriott hotels. They're hotels that people set up that Marriott just lets them use the branding for. Which also, side note, just keep that in mind when you're thinking of quality of service. It doesn't really help when you complain to Marriott because some Joe on like say Staten Island makes Marriott with bloody walls. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So
I'm just
I
saying what
stayed
I saw.
I stayed in an off-brand Marriott in DC on this last trip that I went to, but that was great. By the way, it was great. But I used a VPN when I connected to their Wi-Fi 100%. Um, and so that's part of this, right? The other part of it is that it's not just Wi-Fi; it's Bluetooth, it's NFC.
Yes.
So the proximal access you have with Magic Internet Brick to be able to pay for things. There's a pretty great video out there. I don't know how legitimate it is because I haven't looked into it, but pretty great video out there that's been kind of circulating around LinkedIn where they show these two women going up to specifically male tourists. They have them on security cam, and they've got a card skimmer, and they'll go up behind the male. There'll be one woman will go up and distract the man. The other woman will go up and put the scanner up by their rear pockets where their wallets are, right, to try to scan that NFC data or that that data off their cards. And so that's something to be cognizant of. Well, be aware of your physical surroundings. And I know it's hard, especially when you're in an incredibly busy place like an airport or hotel. That's a really, really tough place to still kind of, I don't want to say have your head on a swivel, but something to that effect of being aware of who's around you, what's around you. And also then when you're jumping on your phone to do whatever business you need to do, being aware of the security therein. It seems like I'm asking a lot of people. I feel like I'm asking a lot of people when I'm saying to do this kind of stuff, but it's, I guess, and Frank, I've been reflecting on, my career over the past couple of months, and I'm like, where I've worked has fundamentally changed, like the kind of person I am, which is weird. Like
We operate on a different baseline as a result.
we
Yeah.
really do. And so
Yeah.
when I'm telling you these things, and when Frank is telling you about like, here's what we would do, we're very high on the situational awareness like level.
We're quite legitimate, some might say.
Yeah, quite legitimate. And look, we still will make
Formidable.
mistakes. We still might get hacked. We
Yeah.
still might get
It's
our
all,
cards.
except it's a lot more embarrassing. It's a lot more
Yeah,
embarrassing. I
but
cannot
but
tell
I
you
mean,
how
it happens.
embarrassing
Like, we're
it is.
human, and so when we're saying these things that like, oh, we got to keep your eye on a swivel, or you got to pay attention. Like, we know it's like one more thing that you have to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to do, right? And so, as cybersecurity professionals, yes, it is actually our job to help alleviate some of that. But at the same time, still keeping your wits about you, still keeping the capability, the same kind of things that I know that most people apply to any kind of purchase or any kind of transaction or any kind of trust. Those are the kinds of things you need to think about with your digital devices, as well as not just your personal relationships with people or your interactions with people on a regular basis. That's all I'll
Right.
say.
Right.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And speaking of those personal relationships with others, always keep in mind that the most dangerous scams don't just hack your wallet, they hack your heart. AI voice cloning and family emergency scams are great examples of those, right? They work because they hit you where the logic doesn't live: fear, urgency, and love. And we're seeing a huge increase in these as AI has become more accessible to everyone. That includes the scammers that are using it as well. A lot of people are starting to get phone calls from people that sound just like their loved ones. The hackers will take a voice sampling that I'm sure, gosh, they'll probably take some of ours from this
I've been
podcast,
meaning to
right?
talk to you about that.
And
Sorry, I'll let you continue.
and then they'll use that to call a loved one and pretend that, hey, I'm in jail, I need you to come pick me up, or I'm in jail and I need to pay for bond and so forth. Send the Venmo to this, or can you send me money to here, and so forth. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're talking to that person. Always double check. It's really difficult because these are the types of things that you really want to help out a loved one when they're actually in that situation, but you should have something in place so that if it is a wild situation like they're in jail, always have what we like to call a family catch passphrase. And this is something, for example, I've told my kids that we have a family phrase that if someone's coming to pick them up and it's not us, or if there's someone who they see and it's not us that are offering help, they will have a phrase that they will say to the kids so that they'll understand that, yeah, they're from mom and dad, right? And in this case, you should have it with your spouse. You should have it with someone else. So, like, if someone does call and say, "Hey, I'm in jail," then they can say, "Okay, what's the phrase?" So I know you're legit, and then you can give them one, right? So that they
Yeah,
can have a greater level of
that's great.
confidence that it's actually you. But as these actual hacks are becoming more prevalent, it's important to remember that just because now it sounds horrible, Dustin. Just because it sounds like your loved one and even looks, they're getting to the point where even it can look like it, right, with FaceTime and so forth, doesn't mean that it's actually them. And we need to start keeping a greater eye out on for those.
Yeah. And what I've been meaning to talk to you about lately is that I have noticed some activity on our podcast side of this video cast, in which all of a sudden one particular user will download like all of our everything.
But
So
yeah, they're stealing our lives. They're stealing our
just
identity.
be someone going on vacation, right? And being like, oh, I'm going to cache these. I really like these guys, because that happens all the time. Who doesn't? Who doesn't like
What's not to like?
But also, if you guys start hearing Dustin and Frank's voice saying some outlandish stuff, probably not us.
I mean, might be, but
Oh,
probably
oh,
isn't. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I guess it depends on the outlandishness. But yeah, double check with Frank and I
yeah, yeah. What
if
is it?
we're okay.
Admin at legitimatecybersecurity.com, where we
There you
check
go.
that email sometimes.
Yep.
So yes.
Oh, we're always checking that email. Uh,
Yep. Yeah.
but
Sure.
anyway, yeah. So But you're right. It is that now we're adding another layer here. Where now we're talking about a very emotional, but not just emotional as in like fear of missing out or um, yeah, stress emotion. Now we're talking about like really tugging on multiple emotions, tugging on the heartstrings of people by impersonating members of their family, which is just such a mind fuck. I it is, and it's hard to get around, and it's hard to really call it anything else other than that because it just is. And so, aside from having, I love your idea of having the code, but also confirming, like knowing that if your son calls you from jail, say, okay, I'm going to do what I can. After you hang up with whoever that person is, they're probably going to try to pressure you into doing something like immediately, like on the phone before you do anything else, text your son or your daughter or whoever they're impersonating or whoever you might be suspecting. So text their friend, text their significant other, text somebody, be like, hey, what's going on? Half the time, probably more than half the time, it's going to be like, oh no, they're standing right here next to me. It's not, that's
Which
not how.
happens a lot, I've noticed in these
Yeah.
scams where they'll call and they'll say, "Hey, I got a call," especially the prison ones. "Hey, I just got a call, from, such and such in prison. Did he call? Did he reach out to you?" And they're like, "Ah, he's sitting right here with me." So, you know, what Dustin and I want to reiterate something that Dustin and I said. If you, we've gone over a lot here, and it can be a little overwhelming. But if you remember one thing from this episode, it's not that we're trying to be paranoid, and we're not trying to make you paranoid. We're trying to be boring targets, and we want you to be boring targets too. So, real quick, I want to go over a few of the moves that we've discussed, just so you can have it all as a list that stop most of the holiday cyber threats, theft, without turning your life into a security seminar or case study. Um, First, buy gift cards either behind the counter directly or digitally. Verify gift card balances immediately. Never click shipping links from texts that you don't know. Always use official apps and bookmarks for tracking. Don't share any one time codes you may receive. Enable MFA on email and banking. Oh, one thing we didn't mention that's going to help you out a lot is always make sure your credit's frozen as well. Freeze your credit. It's super easy to go to the big three, freeze it, and unfreeze it for the times you need it, which are, you'll believe it or not, incredibly rare. Use a family passphrase for emergencies. Don't stay logged in to either airport Wi-Fi's, or don't even do it, or hotel TVs, or and another big one, rented cars with Bluetooth. And turn off Wi-Fi and auto join before all of your travels so that you don't automatically join into these things. If you keep these in mind, you're just going to have a much safer holiday season. We really want everyone to enjoy like the actual feel of the holidays and just not get, kind of taken advantage of, because it's really easy to do, right? And we really want to make sure that everyone kind of enjoys the holidays. Wouldn't you say so, Dustin?
Absolutely. There's enough stressors out there for the holidays. Every year. Every year there's just something that's new that's added onto that. We're not trying to cause more stress for you. Follow Frank's advice there. And then also, just use common sense in a lot of these cases. Remember back to your training that you've probably had to do for phishing, and kind of apply those same fundamental ideas behind any kind of digital transaction or any kind of digital anything that you're doing. And you should be okay. And again, like Frank said, they're going after the low hanging fruit here. So anything you can do to remove yourself from being the low hanging fruit is going to be a plus for you. And then hopefully we all are no longer low hanging fruit, and then they'll move on to another scam that they can actually use. The reason why we keep getting these SMS, these phishing scams, these QR code scamming, all the stuff that keeps happening is because it's working to some extent, and that is worrying as well. But just keep these fundamental things in mind. Keep your training in mind that you've had with your organizations probably, and then keep your common sense in mind when you're going through and doing these things. Not everything on
Exactly.
the internet was not built with security in mind. We're still using the internet. So just keep that in mind. The actual platform that you're utilizing was not built with security in mind. It's getting better. It's getting better. We're finding new ways to do things to protect against things, but the bad guys are always going to find a new way to circumvent those. And then, the game of cops and robbers continues.
Yeah, and especially this time of year, with it being so busy. Remember, holiday scams aren't old people scams; they're busy people scams,
Yes.
and that's all of us in December. So, if as you go about and as you're meeting with your friends and family, just try to take some time and take a step back. If any of this helped you, also send it to someone in your family who always clicks that link, or the person who swears they never would, or doesn't think about buying a bunch of gift cards in bulk from the grocery store. But until next time, we'll still be here talking about defense, disruption, and the dad jokes that either land flat or, well, let's be honest, land flat. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Keep on cybering.
Keep on cybering.